Picture this: a mirror reflecting not just my face, but 1,000 tiny decisions etched into every line and shadow. I'm Sabrina, 36 years old, standing in front of that mirror, tracing the edges of who I've become. My life. It's a mosaic of quiet moments and loud laughter, pieced together with the people who matter most. There's Henry, my husband of 8 years, a man whose quiet intensity could stop a room cold, only to melt it with that disarming smile of his. He's a financial consultant, always crunching numbers in his head, even when he's pretending to listen to my rants about the day. We've settled into this comfortable rhythm, a dance of shared routines. Coffee at 7 a.m., his hand brushing mine as we pass the sugar. The way we can sit in silence and still feel heard. It's not flashy, but it's ours, built on unspoken understandings that don't need words to hold weight. Then there are Monica and James, our anchors from way back in college, the kind of friends who've seen you at your worst and still show up with pizza. Monica's a graphic designer, vibrant as the colours she splashes across her canvases, with a laugh that spills over like champagne, filling every corner of a room. James, on the other hand, is a high school teacher, armed with a dry wit that cuts through her energy like a steadying hand. He's the guy who'll drop a sarcastic quip, so deadpan you don't realise you've been roasted until everyone else is already laughing. The four of us, we're a unit, tethered by years of memories, late-night study sessions turned into beer pong disasters, road trips with broken GPS and endless detours, weddings where we cried more than the parents. Weekends with them are sacred, a chance to step out of life's grind and just be. Tonight, though, there's a buzz in the air, something different. We've decided to shake things up with a night out at Velvet Ember, this trendy downtown bar that's been on our radar for weeks. It's got a reputation. Sultry jazz that seeps into your bones, dim amber lighting that makes everyone look like they've stepped out of a noir film, and signature cocktails with rosemary sprigs that add just the right touch of mystery. I've been looking forward to this all day. Maybe all week, if I'm honest. There's something about getting ready for a night like this that feels almost ritualistic. I'm slipping into a sleek black dress, the fabric cool against my skin, watching my reflection transform into someone a little bolder, a little more daring. Henry's across the room, fastening his watch, the faint clink of metal against metal cutting through the quiet. He catches my eye in the mirror, flashes that smile, and suddenly I'm reminded why 8 years still feels like the first. I can hear my own heartbeat, a steady thrum of excitement as I dab on a bit of perfume, the scent of jasmine lingering like a promise of the night ahead. We step into Velvet Ember, and it's like walking into a different world. The air hums with smooth saxophone notes, weaving through the crowd like a velvet thread, pulling everyone into its rhythm. The dim amber glow of the lights casts long shadows across the room, making every face look like it's hiding a secret. I breathe in deep, catching the sharp tang of citrus and the earthy hint of rosemary from the cocktails already in hand around us. We slide into a booth, the soft leather cool against my skin, moulding to us, like it's been waiting just for this moment. It's the kind of place that makes you feel both seen and hidden, wrapped in an intimacy that's hard to describe. Monica's already in the middle of a story, her voice rising and falling with dramatic flair as she recounts that disastrous camping trip from years back. The one where we got lost for hours, ended up sleeping in a leaky tent, and swore we'd never speak of it again. Her hands are flying through the air, painting the scene of me tripping over a root in the dark, and I can't help but laugh even though I'm the punchline. James is sitting across from her, rolling his eyes like he's heard this 1,000 times. But there's a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth he can't quite suppress. He catches my gaze and shakes his head, as if to say, "Can you believe we survived that?" Henry's beside me, his presence steady as always, his hand resting lightly on my knee under the table. It's a small gesture, barely noticeable, but it grounds me. A quiet reminder that he's here, that we're here together. I lift my glass, the crystal catching the light just so, and propose a toast. To friendship, I say, my voice softer than I mean it to be, but it carries. Monica echoes it with a cheer, James with a nod, and Henry with a look that says more than words ever could. We clink our glasses, the sound sharp and clear, ringing in my ears like a tiny bell marking this moment. The cocktail hits my tongue, bright and herbaceous, and the conversation flows as easily as the drinks. We drift into memories of past travels, like that trip to Italy a few summers ago. I can still see the cobblestone streets of Florence, uneven underfoot, the way the sun painted everything gold. Monica's laughing again, reminding us how she haggled with a street vendor for a silk scarf, her broken Italian making the old man laugh so hard he gave her a discount. I remember the weight of that day, the four of us wandering aimlessly, gelato dripping down our hands, not caring about anything but the next corner we'd turn. I notice the little things as we talk, Henry's eyes crinkling at the corners when he lets out a rare, deep laugh, the kind that always makes my chest warm. Monica's lipstick leaves a faint crimson mark on the rim of her glass, a tiny detail that somehow feels significant in the haze of the night. I'm still caught in that warm bubble of nostalgia when a stranger's voice cuts through our laughter, smooth and confident, like he's been part of our conversation all along. "Sounds like you've got stories worth a whole book," he says, leaning casually against the edge of our booth, a smirk playing on his lips. I glance up, startled, and see another man standing just behind him, both of them exuding an effortless charisma that feels almost magnetic. Before Monica or I can muster a reply, I hear the familiar sound of Henry's footsteps approaching, James right beside him, returning from the bar with fresh drinks in hand. I brace myself for tension, expecting Henry to stiffen or throw a protective arm around me, but instead, he just slides in next to me with a casual ease that throws me off. "Hey, making new friends?" he says, his voice light, almost teasing, but there's a glint in his eye I can't quite decipher, something sharp beneath the surface of his smile. James smirks too, slipping back into the booth like nothing's out of the ordinary, his gaze flicking between the strangers and us with mild curiosity. The two men don't miss a beat, introducing themselves as Ethan and Liam, their names rolling off their tongues with a polished charm that feels practiced, yet undeniably captivating. Ethan's got this intense, dark stare that seems to see right through you, while Liam's got a crooked grin that promises trouble in the best way. They pull up chairs without waiting for an invitation, joining us at the table, and their presence shifts the air around us. Their laughter is deep, commanding, filling the space in a way that makes our little group feel suddenly smaller, yet oddly drawn in. I notice the subtle games starting to play out almost immediately. Ethan's hand brushes against mine as he reaches for a coaster, his touch lingering just a fraction too long, sending a jolt through me I wasn't expecting. Across the table, Liam's gaze lingers on Monica as he compliments her necklace, his voice low and deliberate, like every word is a carefully placed step in a dance. It feels like a game, a dangerous one, and to my surprise, we're all playing along, caught up in the thrill of it. Monica's laugh is a little sharper, her eyes brighter, while James leans back with an amused tilt to his head, like he's watching a show unfold. Henry, though, is quieter than usual, his hand no longer on my knee, but I can feel the weight of his attention, even if I can't read what's behind it. Then Ethan leans in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial tone, and suggests we take the night somewhere else. "We've got a penthouse downtown," he says. "Killer view of the city skyline. Why don't you all come check it out?" My heart skips, the invitation hanging in the air like a dare. I turn to Henry, searching his face for a reaction, but his expression is unreadable, a mask of calm that doesn't give anything away. He doesn't resist, doesn't protest, just meets my gaze with something I can't name. Monica, on the other hand, is already nodding, her enthusiasm sealing the deal before I can even process it. "Let's do it," she says, her voice buzzing with excitement, and just like that, we're agreeing, piling out of the booth and into the cool night air. A sleek black car waits outside, its tinted windows reflecting the neon glow of the street, and we slide in, the leather seats cold against my skin, The city lights blur past us as we drive, streaks of colour against the dark, and I feel this strange mix of anticipation and unease settling in my chest, like I'm stepping into something I can't quite control. When we arrive at the penthouse, it's like stepping into another world entirely. Floor-to-ceiling windows stretch across the living room, framing the glittering city below like a painting come to life. The furniture is all sharp lines and luxury, black leather couches, glass surfaces that catch every flicker of light, a bar stocked with bottles that gleam like they cost more than my rent ever did. I'm still reeling from what just happened, the weight of it pressing down on me like a physical thing. The penthouse, once a dazzling escape, now feels like a stage where every move is under scrutiny. There's a quiet that's settled over us, an unnatural stillness that seems to amplify every tiny sound. The soft jazz still plays from hidden speakers somewhere in the room, its mellow notes weaving through the air. But instead of soothing, it feels like a mockery of the storm raging inside me. The melody is too smooth, too unaffected, while my heart is a chaotic mess, pounding so hard I'm sure everyone can hear it. I'm standing near the edge of the room, my fingers fumbling with the hem of my black dress, trying to adjust it as if straightening the fabric could somehow straighten out the mess I've made. My hands are trembling, just slightly, but enough that I notice, enough that I clench them into fists to hide it. I can't bring myself to look at Henry, not yet. My eyes are fixed on the floor, on the polished hardwood that reflects the dim light in faint, ghostly streaks. The room feels heavier now, the air thick with unspoken words and consequences I'm not ready to face. I can still feel the ghost of Ethan's touch from earlier, the way it lingered, the way I let it linger, and the memory burns in a way that's both thrilling and sickening. Across the room, I catch Monica's eye for a fleeting second. Her cheeks are still flushed, a deep pink that stands out against her pale skin, and her breathing hasn't quite steadied. There's a look in her eyes I can't fully read, part guilt, part defiance, part something else I don't want to name. Our glance is quick, loaded with everything we're not saying, and then she looks away, her fingers twisting a strand of her hair, as if that small action could anchor her. I wonder if she's feeling the same churning mix of emotions I am, if she's replaying her own choices from moments ago, or if she's already pushing it all down, pretending it didn't happen. Ethan and Liam, though, they're acting like nothing's out of the ordinary. They're over by the bar, pouring fresh drinks with the kind of casual ease that makes my stomach twist. Ethan's pouring bourbon into a glass, the amber liquid catching the light as it swirls, while Liam leans against the counter, saying something I can't hear that makes Ethan chuckle. Their laughter cuts through the silence, sharp and carefree, a stark contrast to the tension coiled tight in my chest. It's as if the last hour didn't just turn everything upside down, as if they didn't just pull the rug out from under all of us with their charm and their dares. I watch them for a moment, almost resentful of how unaffected they seem, how they can just move on while I'm stuck here, drowning in the aftermath. I force myself to move, to do something, anything to distract from the thoughts spiraling in my head. I reach for a glass on the nearby table, my fingers brushing against the cool crystal, and I lift it to my lips, even though I don't really want a drink. The liquid burns as it goes down, sharp and bitter, mirroring the sting of regret I can't shake. I set the glass back down, a little too hard, the clink echoing in the quiet. My other hand smooths over my hair, tucking a stray strand behind my ear, a nervous habit I can't seem to stop. My gaze drifts to the massive windows, to the city lights sprawling out below us like a sea of stars. They're too bright now, almost accusing, as if they've seen everything and are judging me for it. I feel exposed, even here, high above the world, like those lights are piercing right through me, illuminating every mistake I've made tonight. I hear footsteps, slow and deliberate, and my breath catches. I don't need to look to know it's Henry. The room seems to shrink as he approaches, the space between us charged with something I can't name but can feel in every nerve of my body. My heart is racing now, a wild drumbeat in my chest that I can't quiet no matter how hard I try. I feel Henry's presence beside me before I even turn. The familiar warmth of him cutting through the cold uncertainty that's been gripping me since everything unraveled up here in this penthouse. I finally muster the courage to face him, my eyes lifting slowly, almost reluctantly, to meet his. But before I can say a word, he gestures toward the elevator across the room with a subtle tilt of his head. "Let's get out of here," he murmurs, his voice low, almost a whisper, but there's a steadiness to it that anchors me in the chaos of my thoughts. I nod, unable to speak just yet, and follow him as we slip away from the others, the soft hum of their distant conversation fading behind us. We step into the elevator, the heavy doors sliding shut with a quiet thud that feels like a barrier between us and the world we're leaving behind. The cold metal walls surround us, reflecting our distorted images back at me. My face pale, my eyes wide with a mix of fear and confusion, and Henry's expression unreadable, a mask I can't penetrate. The silence is thick at first, pressing down on me as the elevator begins its descent. I open my mouth to say something, anything, to break this unbearable quiet. But before I can, Henry turns to me, his voice cutting through the stillness like a lifeline. "Thank you," he says, soft but firm, each word landing with a weight I wasn't expecting. "I've long wanted to see the real you." His words hit me like a shockwave, a jolt that steals the breath from my lungs. My chest tightens, and I feel my pulse stutter as I try to process what he means. The real me? What does he see that I've been hiding, even from myself? My mind reels, spinning through every moment of tonight, every choice I made, every line I crossed. I thought I'd see anger in him, or hurt, or betrayal, something I could brace myself against. But this quiet gratitude, this unexpected acceptance, it unravels me in a way I didn't see coming. I stand there, frozen, my hands gripping the railing behind me for support, as the elevator hums softly, carrying us downward. Then I feel it, his hand reaching for mine, not with the tension I'd feared, but with a tenderness that catches me off guard. His fingers intertwine with mine, warm and steady, and his thumb begins tracing slow, deliberate circles on my skin. It's a small gesture, but it feels monumental, like a bridge being built between us, in real time. I look down at our joined hands, almost disbelieving, before my gaze lifts to his face. I search his eyes, desperate for a hint of resentment, for any sign that this is just a facade before the storm breaks. But what I find instead is something else entirely. Curiosity, maybe, or even a flicker of relief, like he's been waiting for this moment just as much as I've been dreading it. His eyes hold mine, steady and unflinching, and I feel the weight of his gaze peeling back layers I didn't even know I'd put up. In that moment, something shifts inside me, a dam breaking under the pressure of everything I've been holding back. I realize I need to be honest, not just with him, but with myself. I take a shaky breath, the words forming before I can stop them, spilling out in a quiet confession, meant for no one else but us, and maybe for you, listening to this now. I liked it. I don't regret what happened up there, not fully. There's a part of me that feels liberated by it, like I've shed a skin I didn't even know was suffocating me. I've spent so long fitting into the shape of who I thought I should be. Wife, friend, the steady one who keeps it all together. But tonight I stepped outside of that, and even with the guilt and the fear, there's a thrill in knowing I could. I don't say all of this out loud to Henry, not yet, but the admission echoes in my mind as the elevator dings softly, signaling our arrival at the ground floor. The doors slide open and the cool night air rushes in, a sharp contrast to the stifling tension I've been carrying. We step out into the quiet street, the city humming around us with distant car horns and the faint buzz of neon signs. Henry's hand is still in mine, grounding me as we walk toward home, but my thoughts are a whirlwind, replaying every moment of the night before, every look, every touch, every word. I can't shake the feeling that something fundamental has shifted. Not just in me, but between us, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to face what that means. The next morning, I wake up in our familiar apartment, the pale light of dawn slipping through the curtains and painting soft stripes across the bed. My body feels heavy, like I've run a marathon in my dreams, and the memories of last night crash over me before I'm even fully awake. They're vivid, inescapable, playing on a loop in my mind. The glittering penthouse, the charged air, the way boundaries blurred in ways I never expected. I roll over, expecting to find Henry still asleep, but his side of the bed is empty, the sheets cool to the touch. A faint clatter from the kitchen tells me he's already up, and I drag myself out of bed, my bare feet padding across the hardwood floor as I follow the sound. The kitchen smells of freshly brewed coffee, that rich, earthy aroma that usually feels like a warm hug first thing in the morning. Today, though, it's just a backdrop to the undercurrent of something new, something unspoken that lingers between us. I see Henry standing by the counter, his back to me, the coffee machine humming softly as it drips the last of its dark liquid into the pot. He's dressed in a simple t-shirt and sweatpants, his hair still slightly mussed from sleep, and he's scrolling through the news on his tablet, the faint glow of the screen reflecting off his face. It's such a mundane scene, one I've witnessed 1,000 times, and yet it feels different today. There's a weight in the air, a shared secret humming beneath the surface, vibrating in the space between us, even though neither of us has said a word about last night. I shuffle over to the counter, reaching for a mug from the cabinet, the ceramic cool against my palm. The clink of it against the granite is louder than I intend, and Henry glances up, his eyes meeting mine for a brief moment. There's no judgment there, no anger, just a quiet intensity that makes my breath catch. "Morning," he says, his voice steady, casual even, as if we didn't just cross a line we can't uncross. "Morning," I mumble back, pouring myself a cup of coffee, watching the steam curl upward in lazy spirals. I take a sip, the heat grounding me, but my mind is still racing, still trying to reconcile the man in front of me with the one who held my hand in the elevator, who thanked me for showing him the real me. What does he see when he looks at me now? What do I see when I look at myself? We move through the morning in this strange, silent dance, each of us pretending everything is normal while knowing it's anything but. I sit at the kitchen table, cradling my mug, staring at the way the light catches the edge of the ceramic, while Henry flips through articles on his tablet, occasionally letting out a small huff at something he reads. I wonder if he's thinking about last night too, if he's replaying the same moments I am, or if he's already compartmentalized it, filed it away as just another night. But then I catch the way his fingers pause on the screen, the way his jaw tightens just slightly, and I know he's not as unaffected as he seems. There's something there, something we're both too afraid, or maybe too unsure, to name just yet. Later that day, I'm in the living room, curled up on the couch with a book I'm not really reading, when my phone buzzes on the coffee table. The screen lights up with his name, and my heart skips a beat as I read the message. "Can we talk about what happened earlier? Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you."